People read books for different reasons. Some do it for entertainment, others to kill time, and many others because they seek to improve their lives. A good book is meant to teach us something new about the world and to bring a unique perspective into our lives that we've never explored before. Writers usually do this through storytelling and fictional characters that undergo a deep psychological transformation. Now, this is an indirect approach, but one that keeps things open to interpretation, leaving the reader to ask themselves deep philosophical questions. Others simply lay out different rules for life that we should follow if we want to achieve inner peace and live virtuously. This one's more direct, but efficient for those who don't prefer a deep thinking approach. Whatever your style is, we've put together a list of 15 books that are sure to leave a profound mark on your life. For anyone looking to raise their levels of self-awareness, this video is a must-watch. Here are 15 life-changing books everyone must read. Welcome to A-Lux. Number 1. The Brothers Karamazov, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Is there a case to be made that Brothers Karamazov is the greatest book ever written? Well, in a recent podcast, Lex Friedman asked Jordan Peterson that very question, and his answer was, yes, there's a case to be made. Fyodor Dostoevsky is what people call an existentialist writer. He's a master at storytelling and a genius when it comes to creating troubled characters. If there's a common theme in his writing, it's this: crime, guilt, and redemption. Now, without spoiling this book, Brothers Karamazov is a murder mystery, but one that asks deep philosophical questions. The novel tells the story of a wicked and sentimental father and his troubled relationship with his sons. When the father, Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov, gets murdered, the novel turns dark as the main characters try to figure out who committed the act. The complicated social dynamics make this an intriguing story, as each of the characters has reasons to commit the murder. It's a masterclass in human nature, and through this dark and emotional story, Dostoevsky teaches us one thing. We're sometimes caught in situations where our actions are not a reflection of our being. When these situations occur, it's important to learn how to deal with the implications of our actions, accept our guilt, take responsibility, and ultimately seek salvation, not in some potential afterlife, but in this life. Brothers Karamazov is a book that should be in everyone's library because, as many on this list, it teaches us how to live well in the face of adversity. So if you're a deep thinker and love exploring different philosophies like rational idealism, hedonism, and religious idealism, start reading Dostoevsky. Make sure to tell us which philosophy you resonate with the most. We're definitely curious to know. Number 2. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. When we talk about the most influential books of the 20th century, this book naturally comes to mind. Man's Search for Meaning is an antidote for the modern person, an answer for those looking to find significance in the very act of living. Viktor Frankl's writings have been considered by critics to be the most important contributions in the field of psychotherapy since the days of Freud, Alder, and Carl Jung. And for good reason. The book is split into 2 parts. In the first part, Experiences in Concentration Camp, Viktor Frankl describes his experience as a prisoner in Nazi concentration camps during World War II. It's in this place that Frankl found meaning in suffering and had to adapt in order to survive. It's a highly emotional story that, besides resilience, adaptability, and courage, provides us with a valuable lesson. When we're no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. In the second part of the book, Viktor explains the practice of logotherapy, which is a form of psychotherapy that helps the patient find meaning in their future condition. And if you're struggling to find meaning in life, this book should definitely be on your desk by now. Number 3. The Gulag Archipelago, Aleksandr Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn spent almost a decade in Soviet prisons, or gulags, for the criticism he made of Stalin in a series of letters he sent to a friend while fighting in World War II. Similar to Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, this book is about hardship, the dark side of regimes like communism, and the nature of good and evil. The Gulag Archipelago offers a glimpse into the horrors that occurred in the Soviet Union as it tried to transform itself into a society organized under communist principles. This is a book that carries a deep emotional load, and it teaches us that even the most noble intentions can lead to cruelty, suffering, and poverty. A must-read, especially in 2022, where the context forces us to oscillate between different ideologies. Number 4. Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Friedrich Nietzsche. Now, let's talk a little bit about Nietzsche's favorite creation. Thus Spoke Zarathustra was written in 10 days in what the author called sporadic bursts of creativity. The book is structured in 4 parts, and it tells the story of the prophet Zarathustra, who goes out into the wild for 10 years seeking solitude and enlightenment. After becoming aware of his wisdom, Zarathustra descends from the mountains looking to share his wisdom with the world and his revelation that God is dead and his successor is what Nietzsche calls the Overman. During his journey, he encounters different archetypes that help the reader to get familiar with Nietzsche's philosophy. It's not an easy book, but it's a masterpiece for anyone passionate about psychology, human nature, and the will to live. Number 5. Ethics, Baruch Spinoza. Was Baruch Spinoza an atheist, as a lot of people call him? Well, not actually. Although he was born and raised in the Jewish tradition and was educated in a conservative environment, Baruch rejected religion and embraced his own philosophy. In his book, Ethics, Spinoza defends God, but not the one from the Old Testament. For him, the real God was nature and all manifestations of the natural law of the universe. For Spinoza, understanding God and life meant understanding the natural sciences, philosophy, and even psychology. Without those, there would not be a bigger picture, and for this reason, his philosophy is built around a scientifically based ethical system. Spinoza's writings are a breath of fresh air for any religious person, and it might provide the agnostics out there with the answers they might have never thought about before. We encourage you to research his philosophy in depth. There's a lot of value and wisdom to be found in his writings. Number 6. Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life Pack, Jordan Peterson. We've talked about Jordan Peterson at length on this channel, so this should come as no surprise. We've even made a video where we talked about the 15 books Jordan Peterson thinks everyone should read. Beyond Order comes as a continuation of his best-selling book, 12 Rules for Life. So if you've already read that one, pick up this one. You'll definitely enjoy it. Number 7. Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. It's time to enter the realm of Eastern philosophy here. The Tao Te Ching is one of the most influential texts of Asian philosophy and serves as a foundational read for those looking to practice both philosophical and religious Taoism. This book can easily be read in one day, but it requires a lot of meditation and reflection on the text. It's a practical guide to life and, for many, the primal step in learning to let go and achieve inner peace. One of the primary themes of the book is learning to live in accordance with the Tao, or the Way. This is a transformative read that will leave a profound mark on the way you look at nature and humanity's role in the universal order of things. It's a read you need to dwell a lot on if you truly want to grasp its meaning, but if you do, you'll know that it's worth it. Number 8. The Secret of the Golden Flower, a Chinese Book of Life. And because we're talking about Taoism, once you're done with the Tao Te Ching, pick up this one next. They complete each other real nice. The Secret of the Golden Flower is a Chinese Taoist book on Niden, or inner alchemy meditation, which also mixes Buddhist teachings in with Confucian thoughts. It became a religious classic, especially in the West, after it was translated by Richard Wilhelm and commentated on by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. This book is basically a manual written symbolically for the practice of meditation, seeking to introduce the reader to Taoism and help to integrate its practices. A masterpiece for those interested in practicing meditation and curious to learn more about Eastern philosophy and symbolic therapy. Number 9. Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. If there's one book that's guaranteed to change your life, it's Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, a personal diary that was never meant to be published. This book offers a glimpse into the life of Rome's most loved emperor. Marcus Aurelius didn't have it very easily. He inherited an empire facing potential collapse, being ravaged by war, protests, and a merciless plague. But through all of this, he managed to remain a true Stoic, a person of virtue and godlike morality. Meditations is structured as a dialogue between Marcus and his ideal self as he struggled to remain good and moral in the face of human temptations and adversity. It's a book that teaches self-reliance and the living proof that if your will is strong enough, you could not only speak about your philosophy, but embody it until your dying day. For most of us, Marcus Aurelius can be the mentor we never had. Number 10. On the Shortness of Life. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. What better way to improve your life than to study Greek philosophy? On the Shortness of Life is Seneca's most famous essay, and its purpose is to send an important message. Memento mori. Remember you are mortal. And it's not necessarily that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of that time. Seneca urges us to make the most of our time, get back in control of our lives, and live them to the fullest. This can only be done once we realize that time is our most valuable and scarce resource. It's not wealth or material possessions that matter, but the quality and sum of the experiences that make up our lives. And we merely scratched the surface of this essay, so we definitely encourage you to read it thoroughly and reflect on its ideas. You'll be sure to find a revelatory perspective on life. Now, before we move forward with the video, we want to give you a special offer for Black Friday. We want each and every one of you finding yourself in a better place next year. To help you get there, this Black Friday there are 3 bundles available at a special price. Goal Mastery, plus one of your favorite ALUX courses for only $5.99 instead of $7.50. Even better, and this will only work until Cyber Monday, use the promo code EXTRA100 and you'll get an extra $100 off the already discounted Black Friday bundle deal. We're limiting this to 100 people only. Basically, you get Goal Mastery plus a course of your choice for free. You're welcome, Aleksandr. Use it wisely. Number 11. The Enchiridion, Epictetus. The Enchiridion is a short but practical manual of Stoic ethical advice compiled by Arian, a disciple of the Greek philosopher Epictetus. This handbook of Stoic philosophy contains the most useful, necessary, and most adopted lessons from the discourses of Epictetus. In this book, Epictetus doesn't try to convince the reader of the validity of his beliefs or demonstrate his intellectual prowess. Instead, he simply provides guidelines for action. If you're looking for a more practical and quick way to learn and apply Stoic philosophy, the Enchiridion should have a special place in your library. Number 12. The Republic, Plato. If you've studied philosophy, you already know about Plato's most famous work, The Republic. This is one of the most influential works of philosophy and political theory, both intellectually and historically. What's so fascinating about Plato's Republic is that it's relevant even in today's day and age. A foundational read for anyone interested in politics, justice, and leadership. This book also deals with concepts like the theory of forms and the role of arts in society. But look, this isn't exactly a beginner-friendly read, so if you're just starting out, maybe it's best to stick with the other works on this list and then come back to this one a little bit later. Number 13. Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle. And while we're at it, we should also talk about Plato's pupil, Aristotle. Everyone wants to do the right thing, but how do we know what is right? Well, that's a question that sums up what Aristotle is all about: virtue and wisdom. The Nicomachean Ethics is considered by many to be the most important ethical treatise in the Western philosophical tradition. Aristotle argues that in order to live a happy life, a human must focus on being virtuous, wise, and just. You can see a pattern here, can't you? Most of the books on this list focus precisely on that. If you're looking for a practical guide on how to cultivate the right virtues and get acquainted with Aristotelian thought, grab this book ASAP. And once you're done with it, complete your journey by reading Aristotle's Politics. You'll find a tremendous amount of value in these books, and they're sure to change your life for the better. Number 14. The Prince, Niccolo Machiavelli. had to add this book to the list in order to balance things out a bit. Machiavelli's most famous work, The Prince, might seem like a bit of a weird pick considering the other books discussed so far, but hear us out. Machiavelli argues that being nice may well be a virtue in general, but what citizens need the most from their rulers is effectiveness, and effectiveness, more often than not, requires one to be unapproachably strict but reasonable. Now, of course, it would be great for a leader to be loved and obeyed, but in The Prince, Machiavelli makes it clear that what keeps people in check is fear. A common theme of this book is an idea that sometimes rulers, and for all intents and purposes, even normal people in their daily lives, are forced to make difficult decisions, and these imply ethical trade-offs, as he likes to call them. When these situations occur, sticking to your virtues might not help your condition or the condition of those around you, so he might be making a good point here. It's up to you to strike the right kind of balance between effectiveness and kindness, and this book will surely balance things out for you after you digest enough Greek philosophy. Number 15, 1984, George Orwell. In recent years, more and more people are saying that we're headed toward an Orwellian dystopian future. But what would that look like? Well, that's why this book is on the list. With a lot of people talking about centralization, CBDCs, and owing nothing and being happy, it's easy to imagine why this is the case. Although Orwell's 1984 is a work of fiction, its story actually depicts the political reality of many nations around the world, be it past or present. This book serves as a wake-up call for people who are born free but have failed to understand the value of this gift. As we see countries like China inflict terror on their citizens, building mass surveillance systems and implementing social credit scores, one can't help but ask, are we not going in the same direction? Well, for now it's hard to say, but one way to prevent this scenario is to understand its dangers, and 1984 does a great job at painting that potential dystopian world. And Aleksandr, that's a wrap for today. Which book are you going to read first? We're curious to know which ones you've already read, and come back to tell us which ones have made a difference in your life. Oh, and if you found this video valuable, tip us with a like to return the favor. And because you made it this far, here's a bonus book to add to your collection. Number 16, Walden, Henry David Thoreau. Rather than love, than money, than fame, give me truth. For those of you who dream about living in accordance with nature in a cabin somewhere in the woods, just know one thing. Walden might turn out to be your favorite book. Although this book is generally believed to be more suited to younger people, the lessons and the deep story of Walden is sure to leave an emotional imprint on anyone. Thoreau's ideas are considered by many to be either rebellious or a call to adventure, which involves a detachment from the material world and our modern way of living. The values and feelings expressed in this book have been a deep source of inspiration for movies like The Dead Poets Society and Into the Wild. If you didn't read this book or don't have time because you're busy with others on this list, we definitely encourage you to watch those movies. They did a great job at delivering the book's message. Thanks for watching, Aleksandr. If you're hungry for more, why not check out this video next? Thanks for spending some time with us today, Aleksandr. We're so glad you did. If you found value in today's video, please give us a like, hit that bell icon to never miss an upload, and hey, don't forget to subscribe.